Love about LSU posting videos on Twitter and social media of the first scrimmage, because when we talk about it tonight, we will be able to break everything down. We will be able to talk about it. You now have a visual of what we saw at football practice. We will get to that too tonight. We were out there on Saturday. What appeared to be their first little type of scrimmage was on Saturday. We were there to be able to witness it. We'll break down everything. Guys that were there, Braden Swinson makes an appearance to practice. Xavier Thomas is pretty much back doing some things in full pads. Did not go in team period, but was there for individuals. So LSU remotely at the current moment staying a little bit healthy. We'll continue to monitor John Emery, who was a little bit nicked up there, but we'll break down practice from this past Saturday. Blake Baker meets with the media. We'll talk about some of the key takeaways, the way that he sees his defense day in, day out. What he talks about having 90% of the playbook already installed. Harold Perkins is doing really well, which I'm glad these videos get posted because Harold Perkins making 2 tackles for loss in the interior as an interior linebacker, I should say, getting Caleb Jackson down to the ground. Critical third stop he had in this scrimmage on third down. Has Blake Baker found a new one that he can mold at LSU at linebacker? We'll talk about that tonight. And he talked about Harold Perkins, so we'll mention that as well. And as we do after every one of these practice reports, at the end, I'm going to field your questions, thoughts, questions, concerns. Fire them inside of the Rudy Crew chat, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. Where is everybody listening to from tonight? I know people from the 318 are in here. I know people from the 337 are live up in here. Where is everybody listening to or from tonight? Let's see. Let's get to a couple comments before we get rolling. Harry Wilson says, Mega, we don't have the dogs on defense to win 11. Hopefully they are coming. But Mega, this is to what was responded. Mega says, I want to be the first one to say we're winning 11 games this year. This are games this before the playoffs. I said that. I don't know if you're going to do that. What I will tell you is I saw practice differently than what others saw it as, right? Like I saw it as a completely different thing. The secondary, as an example, I don't know how they did what they did, and you don't walk away from that and saying that they won the day. They gave up a couple of blown coverages on critical downs, yes. Holding Nussmeier to 2 field goals and picking him off twice is not good. If that's what your offensive production is what you want it to be. Garrett Nussmeier is doing fantastic in 7-on-7. I just think that the defense has stood up at times, and you want to see that. You want to see tit for tat. It's what I want to see. So anybody saying, oh, they dominated in 7-on-7. Okay, well, what happened in the scrimmage? What happened when live bullets were flying? Well, defense won. Oh, okay, well, I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else to tell you. That front seven has been better. Some of the stuff that we'll talk about tonight, some schematical stuff that Blake Baker was doing on Saturday, the things that they were walking through, hot take. I don't know if Blake Baker is not going to be one of the more innovative defensive coordinators that you've had. Definitely the most innovative coordinator that you've had since Dave Aranda, but Dave Aranda wasn't doing the type of stuff that Blake Baker has thrown out onto the field so far. Was it personnel? Was it coaching? We'll get to that here tonight. But if you think, oh, they won in the red zone, okay. Okay, what happens when all 11 are flying? Guys, you see, like, for example, you guys see, like, the one-on-ones. So, and we post them. Maybe it's a little bit on me. Oh, Blake Sage Ryan is having a bad camp. Says whom? Guys, Sage Ryan has been pretty solid in team periods and I guess you would call scrimmage this past Saturday. The secondary has picked it up. We're going to talk about it in great detail in just a moment. Ashton Stamps was my player of the week that we talked about on Thursday. 1 week into camp, Ashton Stamps was the person that I said that I thought was the not only most improved, he was the biggest highlight for me coming out of week 1. Jordan Gilbert making plays. Guys, the person that we're not talking about the most at the current moment is Jordan Allen. Jordan Allen has made plays. On Saturday, he's making plays. Harold Perkins is making plays. I don't know what to make of it at the current moment from a seasonal thing. What I do know is that my eyes, these eyeballs, have seen that secondary making plays more than they made a year ago, the developmental side flying to the football, adding that with the philosophy and schematics of Blake Baker has been good the last couple of days. And if you see it any other way, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you, you might be wrong. Just the way that I see it, we can have differences of opinion. All right. Stephen Fry says 337 is on deck. You heard me. You heard me. From the 504 says Jared Addison. With the 501 boys. Now he's in the Mobile area, the 251. Farmerville, Louisiana. 31831 great. Stand up. Glad to see you in here. KJ from the 985 Raceland in the building. 985. You know, I had somebody with the audacity the other day tell me that there's not good food in the 985. Have you lost your godforsaken minds? Because everybody from every zip code has moved to the 985, mainly Mandeville, Covington, Tangi, Hammond, Ponchatoula, etc. It's the fastest growing parish in the country is Tangi. Or not the country, in the state. It's not remotely close. All right. I ain't get this big for no reason, yo. No, sir. Yes, sir. New shoes on my run. 225 Holden is in the building. Linda is in the 31831 great. Bozier has made an appearance here. The 580 Oklahoma Love. Good to have you in here with us, Justin. Michael Mapp says he's in the 601. Good to have you. 337 says Chad and Matt. Very excited, very glad that all of you are here. Tyler, with probably the question of the night, says, Blake, have you had any info on Greg Brooks? Thank you, Tyler, for the question. I have not. I will ask how Greg is doing. I have not heard. And I think that BK on occasion, probably at least every couple of press conferences when he's asked, people ask if they know about the status of Greg Brooks. So I'll try to look into that, Tyler. Thank you for asking. All right, one more, and then we'll get rolling. John Buchanan with a $9.99 super chat says, if defense is showing signs of a pulled, could lean more that it was scheme and coaching was the problem versus lack of players. Yeah, John, I mean, you could make that argument. Here's a hot take, John. Here's a hot take. And thank you, Jared, for the super sticker as well here, $5 super sticker. And them daycare bills ain't going to pay for themselves. Thank you. All you're doing is sending kids to school is basically all that you're doing. Thank you so much for sending those. I don't know if it's not going to be the theme of tonight's show, if I'm being honest. I don't know that. I legitimately don't know that. Probably is going to be. All right. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jared, for the super chats. Let's get rolling. Everybody do us a favor. Hit that like and share. If you're on Facebook, hit that like button, hit that share button, share to all those groups, social media pages, and wherever you have those groups, send them to every single one of them. Every single one of them. If you're on YouTube, do us a favor. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. Let's talk about our good friends over at betonline.ag. good friend Tyler Alexander over at LPT Realty, now officially, I told you, the number 2 realtor in the entire state. Let him know that Blake sent you on by. You need your home sold. You are on the market. Go to him. He's going to get your home sold. Also, let's talk about our good friends over at J&J Exterminating. We got lots to discuss. We'll get into it here next. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
All right. Let's get rolling. Joseph Buchanan says pulse, not pulled. Sorry. All good. Yes, they do have a pulse. Thank you for the super chat. Yes. The defense does have a pulse, more than a pulse, I would say, personally. You know, I started off the show tonight by saying I'm glad when LSU posts the videos on YouTube, mainly due to the fact that what we talk about, you and I, on these practice reports actually can come to life a little bit. The Caleb Jackson play where he runs over Whit Weeks really comes to play now, because we're going to talk about that tonight. I'm probably going to go on a Caleb Jackson rant that I'm not intending to do based off of the play that we've seen from him these last couple of days. I don't know if I might not go on multiple tangents on Harold Perkins. As I thought the last 2 days, he's really shown up and shown out and started developing at the inside linebacker role. Can he translate that into a game? What we've seen from him the last 2 days has been pretty good. Oh, by the way, LSU posted that on their social media too. So it's not just necessarily me saying it. When my man's shooting through the A gap and getting a big tackle for loss on a third down in the scrimmage, I might add here. But let's walk through practice. In case it's the first time that you've joined us here, we're going to walk through everything. Now, when we get to the scrimmage, the team periods, that's where we're going to spend most of our focus, like we do every single time. I always tell you that unless 7-on-7 is a bloodbath, we don't always need to work and look on that. Let's get to the 11-on-11 part, but we're going to run through all of it. So LSU started off the day in the red zone. So Joe Sloan the other day had told us that, you know, basically what they're going to be working on throughout the week. Today, a lot of it was on red zone before they get to the scrimmage. And that's what they opened up with. Chris Hilton has really started to emerge in the sense of that, like the first play that we see in the red zone was him going up with one hand, coming down, getting a foot down in the back of the end zone or what looks like a wheel fade route, whatever it is. Referee calling it in. Touchdown. That's how our day started in one-on-ones. Chris Hilton has been all over the place. And I think that is something that we need to continue to monitor. If he stays healthy, Chris Hilton's made more plays than anybody in that wide receiver room. Anybody. And the first play that we're out there is him in the back of the end zone on Ashton Stamps. Bang, one-handed. Ashton Stamps making a really good defensive play, but Chris Hilton's just making a better one. That's what you want to see. That's how we let it off. Lacey had a fade on Woodland, would go for a TD. And Jair Brown. Jair Brown is going to be someone that we talk about tonight too, that started really making an impact. We posted a video. It was an out route by Mason Taylor. Maybe he shouldn't have hit a guy on the ground. I know that in the video, Jacoby Stevens is saying something to him. But as Blake Baker said in his press conference, I know the coaches didn't want, in that period, knocking dudes to the ground. Blake Baker says I don't want poodles. And if you're going to be a poodle, you can't play here. You got to be a dog, a real dog. So what? He got in front of Mason Taylor and made a play and hit him and he fell down. So what? Stop coaching the poodle or get the poodle out of a dude. When a dude shows that he doesn't have poodle in him, let him go make plays. I'm tired of that. I've seen it so much throughout college football. I'm tired. Oh, well, and then he's saying, oh, well, I don't want my job to be on the line. Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. Jair Brown made multiple plays. That one on Mason Taylor was a good one. Was a really good one. Swan comes in before Collins. Those two are still battling at that backup spot. Swan to Sampson. He airmails it in the back of the end zone. Would have been a touchdown. Collins. So Ricky comes in on the very next play. Collins to C.J. Daniels on a mesh route touchdown. Collins to Kamarian Pimpton in the back of the end zone. It was the play that we posted. Just basically another little mesh route. Pimp has to go upstairs, go up high, point the football, come down, makes a play, touchdown. Still really good coverage on what I believe, or if I remember correctly, maybe I'm wrong, on Jordan Gilbert. Really good coverage. But he would score just really good defended stuff that's becoming touchdowns. That's what I really believe here. Nuss to Sampson TD in red zone period. So really good for the offense there. 1-on-1s, man-on-man, going to benefit the offense. How do you do? And it worked. Some second-team guys got in there. Aaron Anderson got a touchdown. Xavion Thomas, as you saw, did come back to practice on Saturday and was able to catch a touchdown himself in the red zone from Nussmeier. Really good period, man. I think those periods are very intense. Even though they're individual and they're slanted for one party and they're slanted for more of the offensive side of things, I think you got a lot of dudes battling out there, and that's what you want to see. Finish, consistency, winning those battles. Offense looked good there. Let's go to 7-on-7 or I say 7-on-7, but 4-on-4 in the running game, O-line versus D-line and 7-on-7. Look, I thought the D-line had some flashes at times, kind of making some plays. Now, there were times that Caleb Jackson in the run game period was really standing out to me. Now, I know they weren't full-on tackling. They're just not trying to bring a guy like Caleb Jackson to the ground, and he broke some arm tackles. Maybe he would have been tackled. I don't know. But as you saw in Whit Weeks in the play that LSU just posted when he runs a guy over in the scrimmage, I don't know. Thought the offensive line, specifically along the left side of that offensive line, showed out on Saturday. Thought Emory Jones got back to his normal self, if I'm being honest. Really looked good. Tank Guillory had some plays in the run game period. I'll give him that. I think that they have told him, listen, all we want you to do, you don't need to be the guy that's out there making plays. All that you need to do is just be disruptive. Every single play, bull rush on the center, bull rush on a guard, get to the backfield, get them off of you. That's what he's tried to do all camp. And I think the philosophy behind that has been, and it's played better because the dude is just so strong. Like, hey, man, try to get penetration into the backfield, be disruptive. That way we can go in there and make some plays. We can be aggressive. We can not be thinking. Just go out there and play. But if you do your crucial job, maybe we can get some more tackles for loss that we didn't have a season ago. Because you're definitely going to be more aggressive under Blake Baker. That's for damn sure. That is for damn sure. So, I will say that if there are situations in the running game that have worked, it's been with DJ Chester. It's been on Miles Frazier. That those times in the run game when things have been disrupted, it's been Jacoby and Guillory getting some penetration on either one of those. Are you still having Caleb Jackson finding a crease and being fast enough to get through a hole and make some serious plays, running guys over, breaking arm tackles? Yes. How much of that is Caleb Jackson just being an outright freak show? I don't know that. Because at 235 pounds, if that man's running at you, you're in trouble. You're in serious trouble. So I think that they're going to run the football, man. I mean, look, I know Jacobian has had some really good moments in the run game. The thing that I think about that, too, is that he's old enough to know that I don't have to worry about the pass game. I can just try to be as disruptive as I can, make it look like that I'm winning reps so that I can win my job here if it even is up for grabs. But look, I think it's the other guys that have struggled. Whoever's been behind him. Like Gio Paez was out. JVR Suggs comes in. I don't know how he's built in the running game. I really don't. I think he's made some very good plays when he's been out there and he's been able to rush the passer. What I don't know here is can JVR Suggs come in here and make plays in the running game? Can he be an anchor when he needs to be in the running game? Because at times he hasn't been. And I think when you saw the left side of that offensive line really getting pushed, Emory Jones really getting pushed at times, that's when you've seen some things that have really started to separate this team. Is in that running game. It's not been close, man. I don't think it was remotely close on Saturday, even though when the defense makes a play, it flashes out more because of how bad they've been. Oh, well, Jacoby and Guillory, man. Okay, they made a play. No, what has happened here is that I think Jacobian has been really solid, but they got to find more pieces than that. And some guys are going to have to step up quickly, man. Going to have to step up quickly. Braden Swinson was back. So Braden Swinson was not here during team period. And I do think that he makes this defense better based off of what we saw on Saturday. One of the opening ones, he goes unblocked in a zone read type of situation. So he's not blocked. So Nussmeier is reading off on, Collins is reading off on. Does he come down? Does he pull? Does he give? Whatever. Braden Swinson might have read the run games better than anybody this camp on what his assignments need to be and making the right play. Because he had 2 tackles for loss, or what would have been 2 tackles for loss in the running game. Guys, he's big. I think Braden Swinson can be a guy here. I see the traits. Now I need to see the production. Right? Like, I see the traits that Braden Swinson has. Like, I see what Jamar Cain saw in him. Look, Jamar Cain's going after him twice. Thought he would be a premier pass. Look, I'll tell you, I think that Jamar Cain thought that Braden Swinson will be a premier DN, not only in college football, but in this conference. That's why he brought him. I think it was utilized poorly, but that's neither here nor there. So I just look at him in the running game when at times he didn't do good there. If you're gonna do it if you're gonna do it here, if you're gonna give Emory Jones a little bit of a problem, and you're gonna stalemate one another, and you're gonna make the right play, even though you're not making it in the backfield, I'm fine with that. And in the run game, Braden Swinson showed out to me too. There were 2 tackles for loss other than them. Jacoby and Guillory we've talked about. JVR Suggs we've talked about. JVR Suggs is an interesting thing here, and I want to spend a couple of minutes on him. The reason I don't know that he has stood up in the running game is because at times it's either really boom or bust. But every time in that run game period, at least once, he's going to fire off the ball quicker than the guard can get to him, and he's going to get in the backfield. A little dip and rip. He's a smaller DT. That's guys. He's got some speed on him. He's got some athleticism on him. And what he's doing to these bigger guards is just out-athleting them. When he's unable to out-athlete them is where and they get their hands on him is where he's had his issues. So it's been an interesting case with him when he can penetrate through a gap and make a play like he did in the running game on Saturday in individual drills. I see the flash. And I think as Blake Baker, and we'll talk about his press conference, the consistency just isn't there. So you got guys making plays more than what you had a year ago. I will remind you, we thought that this was the best offensive line in the country last year because Mason Smith wasn't making plays. Makai Wingo wasn't making plays. Jordan Jefferson was the one that was actually kind of making plays. And a lot what we saw from Jefferson a year ago reminds me of what Jacoby and Guillory has given you so far through this camp. So boom or bust on him making a play. But when he does, he's going to be disruptive. Can he be more consistent on that first unit? 7-on-7 before we get to the scrimmage, because I want to spend a lot of time on the scrimmage. You opened up the 7-on-7 and the secondary led up 2 touchdowns. One of them was a blown coverage. I saw Blake Baker talking with Major Burns. He came in on a blitz, took himself out of the play. I think some kind of communication was off because and they didn't even get on to Major Burns on the second one because I think that it was a massive just miscommunication. Major was running over from another field. They told him to get in. He doesn't have a call. It is what it is. Aaron Anderson on an in route, busted coverage, touchdown. Chris Hilton, fade route, back of the end zone, bang, touchdown. Let me stop with these 2 wide receivers first. Aaron Anderson has had a better camp than we're giving him credit for. The issue that I am having with Aaron Anderson at the current moment revolves around that I saw some of this last year too. Like, remember when we thought Aaron Anderson could be the third guy and Kyron Lacy would come in on certain situations? He's making those same plays, man. And I don't know if that's going to translate because I'm just very standoffish. I think you got talent. I'm seeing you making plays in practice. That's why you've been in there with the first team. You and Xavier Thomas have fought for this 4th role, quick, small slot guy type of role. Xavier Thomas was out, and you did better than you've ever done. Aaron Anderson showed that in the 7-on-7 period as he catches a touchdown on an in route. Nobody was around him. Chris Hilton. So, don't want to be labeled a homer on this one, but people are out there to verify. And it's not just me who saw it on 7-on-7. And I know that some people tweeted, our practice report out. Of course they did. I don't know if Chris Hilton hasn't had a massive impact. I think Kyron Lacy has gone off. I think CJ Daniels has looked pretty good, if I'm being honest. I think Chris and CJ are just going to be, like, from a pecking order standpoint, it feels like who's going to be the guy that day. Like, I feel that with CJ Daniels and Chris Hilton. because Chris has a massive catch in the red zone, a bad throw by Nussmeier. He goes up with one hand, catches it, comes down with it. Bad throw on the fade route. Got to lead Chris Hilton more. Chris has to come back to the football and wait on it. Still makes a play and has toes down, arms out, catch, bang, tutty. And they got refs out there, man. I'm assuming SEC type officials. I don't know who's out there. They see it, touchdown. That's how we started off. Not good for the secondary, not good for the defense. But I also just want to mention, like, if you want to talk about a team being tit for tat, a team being like this team's making a play, then this side's making a play, and this guy's making a play, and oh, here comes the defense. I like seeing that, if I'm being honest, because that means that you're very well balanced. You're very well balanced. Didn't start off that way in 7-on-7, but then here comes the defense. So I think both Chris Hilton and Aaron Anderson have had really good camps. Let's see if they can put something together. As soon as Major Burns gives up a busted coverage, Garrett Nussmeier goes to Aaron Anderson again on that same in route that they just scored on, and Major Burns was there to get a PBU. Yes, that Major Burns. In coverage. Daniels on a drag route goes for 10. Then he catches another drag route, then an in route for 10. So 2 plays, 20 yards from C.J. Daniels. It's very apparent to me that they want to get C.J. Daniels the ball quickly. Catch 10 yards, catch 10 yards, catch 10 yards, catch 10 yards. I think you got 2 very physical receivers in him and Lacey. And I think you got an ultimate game changer with Thomas, Anderson, Chris that can take the top off. I think it's here's the thing that I think about this wide receiver room. Here it is. I think you're also very balanced there on what you want to accomplish. You got a true slot guy, a guy in Chris Hilton that's got the speed to take it off, take the top off. 2 players that can be very physical at the point of attack, that being Daniels and that being Kyron Lacey, that get him the ball twice. Drag route, in route, C.J. Daniels goes for 20 yards, and you're moving the sticks. Wasn't bad. But then all of a sudden, something interesting happened. Somebody in the secondary emerged. And remember this because this happened. Jordan Allen makes 2 very good plays on the first unit, and one of them being on Aaron Anderson, the other being on Kamarian Pimpton. I don't know what to make of Jordan Allen. Like, I've given you an opinion on pretty much everybody, and I'm going to continue to do that, especially when we get to the scrimmage here. But I don't know what to make of him. In 7-on-7, he gets a pass breakup on Anderson on an in route. Comes from over the top. Ball, like he sees Anderson coming on the in route. Jordan Allen runs right to him. Swats the ball down, incompletion, PBU, great play. Then Kamarian Pimpton, they're in some type of what appears to be man coverage. Kamarian Pimpton is in the slot. He runs an out route, and he dives and bats a ball away, incomplete. So I don't know what to make of Jordan Allen at the current moment, but my antennas are on because I'm seeing you out there making plays again. I saw you in day 3 make a sliding catch, interception, head first, diving in front of a receiver and catching the ball, interception. I've seen that. Now I'm seeing you breaking up passes. What to make of Jordan Allen is going to be key here at that other safety role. Kid's made some plays. Kid has certainly made some plays here. All right. Let's get to the scrimmage. So I want to say this. I said this in the open. Let me refresh what I said just in case you missed it. I tell you, and I've told you last year, I told you in the start of camp this year, and I will tell you again here. When teams go 11-on-11, everything else that we have talked about, other than players standing out and making plays, is horseshit. Because now in live action, you have 11v11. How does your first team unit versus offense versus your first team unit defense, how do they perform? I think that gets lost because these clips go out on social media and you're like, there goes Sage Ryan again getting beat. Well, guys, in the last 3 periods that I've seen of Sage Ryan, team periods, 11 versus 11, you're going to have to explain to me how his name's not coming up and guys making plays on him. Kyron Lacey, he pats the ball down. The Lacey fave for the touchdown that we saw was a busted coverage on Jordan Allen. Also blitzing in the running game, having hot reads and blitzing in the running game. Sage Ryan has not had a bad fall camp. All I will say here is this. When you get to these periods, when you get to these 11-on-11s, this is what matters to me. Anybody else can have any other opinion, doesn't matter to me. My opinion is when the real bullets get flying in 11-on-11, you have a scripted series here. So does Blake Baker, and he actually talked about that in his press conference about how maybe, man, offense is going to be more scripted. We're going out there off of gut and what we want to see. And that's pretty much kind of what happened, him going through his gut, because they made some plays on Saturday, really getting after this offense. So this is how the scrimmage went. The first play, Mason Taylor out route 10 yards along the sideline. And I'm like, oh, man. Come on, defense. Like, this is your first big day. Let's start making some plays. Don't let Mason Taylor get going. Don't let him dink and dunk it down the field on you. Let's go make some plays. Guys, I do think Garrett Nussmeier is going to look at Mason Taylor more than Jaden did last year. I think that one's inevitable. I think that one's inevitable. If something happens in games where he's not going to him, then everything that they've done at forcing the ball to Mason Taylor at times to get him rolling and get a quick pickup will be all for naught. But him and Garrett Nussmeier really, really have started to connect here. So let's see what happens with Mason Taylor. He's going to find his big tight end and his big target. So Mason Taylor out route 10 yards. Nuss gets sacked on the very next play. I saw 35 around the football. When you're on the side, I couldn't really tell. This is what I would tell you. I gave it to Savion Jones. I don't know if it was Savion Jones. I don't know. I just saw him around Nussmeier when the pile started coming to, and he was on top of him. Don't know who sacked him. I put Savion Jones in my notes. I don't know. Here's the thing. Here's the thing that is regardless. Nuss got sacked. Here was the unit that they ran out with. From left to right. It was a interesting setup of what they did in this formation. But it was Deshaun Womack at the outside backer, outside edge. Harold Perkins was the next guy up on the line of scrimmage. You had Parrish Shand at the nose. Then you had Savion Jones. And then you had on the other edge, I would assume here, would be Braden Swinson, but Braden Swinson wasn't there. So you have 5-on-5. So you're at the line of scrimmage. You're looking like you're sending pressure. And, guys, they did. They were as exotic as you could be on Saturday. Very exotic pass rush on first down. And it got home. So something that I noticed is different formations that were in on that play with Nussmeier getting sacked. Here's another thing. Schematically, when they went to like this, I guess, prowler look or dime look or nickel look that we've seen from them, either Major Burns comes out, Jordan Allen comes out, Jair Brown comes in at the slot. And I will tell you, don't forget his name because he started making some plays. He started disrupting Garrett Nussmeier, coming off the edge, coming off of the slot in some blitz type situations and was very disruptive. Also made a big play in the slot too. We'll talk about in just a minute. So that formation, putting guys at the line, sending the house, putting some more guys in coverage, however you want to do it. However you want to do it. But the guy that was in Braden Swenson's spot was Greg Penn at the other edge. Then he would back out and then go into coverage, so an overload type of blitz that they sent. But Savion Jones was the one that I saw come away with the sack. Last part, that right there for me, with what Blake Baker and the formation that he sent, I don't know if he's just not going to be more innovative than Matt House ever was. If you're doing those kinds of formations at practice, what are you going to look like in a game when all this shit's on the line? So they come after him. They send 5, they get home. I know that they ran multiple twists and at least an individual. Don't know if they ran some type of twist route, confused the offensive line, and got home with Savion Jones, but they were working on it all day. Wouldn't have surprised me. Next play after Nuss gets sacked. So there was some scuttlebutt from the media that it looked like somebody jumped off sides, and that's why Garrett just threw the ball, a fade route to Kyron Lacy. I didn't see anybody jump, so I'm not going to say I saw somebody jump. But Kyron Lacy was in the slot. He ran an inside fade route, and it was picked off by Jair Brown. Regardless if somebody jumped off, I think people were just saying that. I don't think they know what they saw there. I really think what happened was you were at a 2nd and 10, and I know Nuss started pointing, but he threw the fade route, and it still got picked off. Fight over the semantics if you want to of what Nuss was deciding there. I don't give a shit. What I do know is that you had Jair Brown and Kyron Lacy going up for the ball on an inside fade route, and Jair Brown was the one that came down with the interception. That's what I know that happened. 3rd and 10, C.J. Daniels runs a drag route, breaks 3 tackles, goes for 25 yards and a first down. C.J. Daniels, I think, is somebody, again, we mentioned this when we talked about that wide receiver room. We ask about Xavier Thomas, kid from Louisiana. We ask about Aaron Anderson. We ask about Kyron and talk about Kyron Lacy. We talk about Chris Hilton and mention Chris Hilton. We are not mentioning C.J. Daniels enough. We're not. From the way that they want to utilize him, we are not talking about him enough. Breaking arm tackles out of linebackers, getting north and south, and making plays, man. Making a really good play. So 3rd and 10. LSU sends the heat, gets burned on sending the heat. And C.J. Daniels goes for 25. Nuss, very next play, has a fade route to Chris Hilton that was covered perfectly by Sage Ryan. I don't know if the ball was not overthrown, which Nussmeier overthrew Chris Hilton on a fade route. I don't know if that ball is not overthrown, that Sage Ryan doesn't make a play anyway. Chris would have had to tiptoe a fade route along the sidelines. Sage Ryan pushes Hilton out. I mean, really good coverage. Very, very good coverage by Sage Ryan down the field, but it wouldn't matter because the ball got sailed by Garrett Nussmeier. Literally, like, man, very, very sailed. That no way that Chris Hilton's catching that. Sage Ryan was on the coverage there. Jackson with a swing pass outright goes for 8. He runs someone over Whit Weeks. Guys, Caleb Jackson, I'm going to continue to say this. He's running away from people, and he's running people over. I don't know if he's not faster than Lenny Fournette. I don't know if, like, people want to compare him to Leonard. That's not the cop I would really go with. I don't know if he's not more Nick Chubbish. You know, like, I don't think that those two mesh well. We use it because Leonard was somebody that was here. I think he's more Nick Chubbish from Georgia. That's more of the style you're going to get. You're seeing it. Can Caleb Jackson catch the ball out of the backfield? Well, you just saw it. Swing pass to the right that goes for 8, runs Whitweeks over for 8. The dude is a bull, man. He is a bull. It's very hard for me at the current moment, very hard for me to see that you're not going to lean on 28 and say, let's get going. Let's get moving. Let's run this rock. Big time O-line, big time running back. And Josh Williams is still an ultimate Swiss Army knife out of the backfield, man. Oh, reliable. Oh, reliable. But I like that Caleb Jackson was the one catching the swing, the route in the flat, getting 8 yards, running Whitweeks over. Big time play. Killed a man. Could have killed a man. Couldn't see the next play. So Jackson goes for 15 and couldn't see the next play. It looked like it was no gain or incompletion. I couldn't see along the far sideline. I couldn't see if Nuss had thrown it, gave it off. Next thing that I know, BK yells 3rd and 5, 3rd and 5. So they're going into a situation where it's a 3rd down here. And Blake Baker and 3rd and 5 sends a blitz. Now, this was the clip that was posted on Harold's social media. Harold shoots through the A-gap on 3rd and 5, untouched, and tackles Caleb Jackson in the backfield as soon as he gets the handoff. Shoots right through the gap. Boom. Meets him as the ball's getting handed off. TFL 4th down. Harold is looking pretty good at the current moment. I think it's schematics. I think it's what Blake Baker touched on to some extent about when Blake Baker was asked, hey, man, how's Harold Perkins? Fantastic. Guys, like he's putting in more work. We're working hard. He's making plays. I think if you ask Blake Baker, if Blake Baker was hit with a dart in his neck and it was truth serum, and you ask him about Harold Perkins, I think he's underselling how he feels about him. I do. Because 3rd and 5, Perkins makes a TFL on Caleb Jackson, you got 4th down. Coverage being what it is, I mean, maybe he will be good, maybe he won't. I don't know. What I do know is on 3rd down, 3rd and 5, Caleb Jackson getting the rock, and it's Perkins making the play in the backfield, shooting through the A-gap, and this O-line can't pick it up. They weren't fast enough. Blake Baker was aggressive, man. All day long, they were aggressive. So you get a 25-yard gain, you get an 8-yard gain on a swing pass, an incompletion or two happens, a run or incompletion happens, and Josh Williams gets a carry for 5. 3rd and 5, you're sitting here. 3rd and 5, you're sitting here, and Harold Perkins is making a play in the backfield on Caleb Jackson. They would give him a 1st down. So I think they didn't want ones versus ones to end. So they gave him the 1st down anyway. So, guys, it's a scrimmage. It's a closed scrimmage. So what? 3rd and 5. They don't get it. They would have punted, but they give him a 1st down in this series. So it's 1st and 10. Burns comes on a blitz from the slot. Caleb Jackson on a stretch right. Taken down. No gain. I mean, 1st and 10, here comes Burns. I'm telling you, sent the pressure all night. Perkins, then another run to Caleb Jackson. Perkins tackled, no gain. 2 straight runs. You send a blitz. Perk is there to meet a running back in the hole. Also no gain. Bad snap by DJ Chester. Garrett Nussmeier throws it away. And on 3rd and 10, Garrett Nussmeier overthrows C.J. Daniels on a post route that was covered by Jordan Gilbert. So you kick a 50-yard field goal, and then we as the media are walked out. So we saw a series, 11 versus 11. Your defense makes a stop. Doesn't look bad in doing it. I think that people have come out of Saturday's practice and said that the offense did not like the offense dominated. Maybe they did, but when it's 11v11, I just disagree with you. I think that you can't look at a scenario where, you get a first down, you got Caleb Jackson running the guy over, you get a run for no gain, 3rd and 5. Here comes Harold Perkins. He makes a tackle for loss. You're holding him to a 50-yard field goal. Ramos makes it. I'm gonna live with this. I think you're battling defensively, man. I think you're going to be more. You're just going to send more pressure. You're going to do different things schematically. You're not going to be a poodle. And that's what Blake Baker said in his press conference. We don't want poodles. We want pit bulls. And if you want pit bulls, you don't play this soft, hammy-bamby bullshit of a coverage and play soft. And, we're gonna cover this guy this way. We're gonna cover this guy this way. You send the house, and Major Burns gets a tackle for no gain. Harold Perkins gets a tackle on Caleb Jackson for no gain because you're scheming that up. I don't know what to make of all of this. What I would say is it's been very balanced. It reminds me more of 22, but in 22, you were better you were better defensively, in my opinion. You were better. And you're better on offense than you were in 22. I don't know, man. I don't know. I hope that Harold Perkins comes out there. Like, I really hope that Perkins comes out here and we have a dude. What do they do when the lights come on and you're against another team and an opponent? That's the thing that we don't know. That's why we prep and we talk about it. Guys, we talk 365 days on this show about literally at some point, man, how's this football team going? Like, we're always talking about it here. Always. You're just going to be so different defensively. So much different. All right. Couple more, then we're getting to comments. Look, just go watch Blake Baker's interview. We've talked about a lot what he said. He loves Harold Perkins. Ashton Sampson's got to be more consistent. This defense has got to be more consistent. I agree with him on all of that. Got to get off the field on 3rd down. Harold Perkins is making plays. Yeah, he's making plays. I mean, if you don't believe me, go look at it on social media. It's all over the place. Hell yeah, he's making plays. Hell yeah, he is. Now you can see with your own eyes. Caleb Jackson's looking good. He's running dudes over. Of course he is. No man go unscathed. I just think you're going to be more physical than USC, man. I really do. Doesn't mean that you're going to win the game, but you will be a more physical team. Much more physical team. Brian Penton with a $10 super chat says, play that poll ESPN had a couple weeks ago about top 10 players since 2000. I think Glenn Dorsey should have been on there. I'm not going to go there. I love him. I love him to death. I just don't I can't go there. Look what it is. Haven't been here in a while, but here he is. Pressure is in the building. Pressure asks, who's been the most vocal defensively? A lot of people. I'd say Jordan Gilbert is the guy getting guys lined up. I agree with. So Pressure, I'm glad you asked that question. I think Blake Baker is accurate that there's been better communication pre and post snap. I agree with that. Especially at safety. That's why Major Burns has done what he's done in the run game. How do they utilize him, man? How do they do it on the field? I don't know. But like that pass rush that you got, the second play where Nuss got sacked. I mean, guys, you're running at Deshaun Womack, Harold Perkins, Parrish Shand is at the nose. Then you have Savion Jones, and then you had Greg Penn, which was going to be Braden Swinson there, I would assume. And you're just getting after their ass. Guys, what if they would have done that last year? Now, if you think I'm crazy that it happened, this is what I did. Just so I could confirm it with everybody that was there to see from the media's perspective, right? I looked at the media and said, hey, we were all sitting there watching practice, and they were going through their pass rush drills, and they're going through the scrimmage. I'm like, hey, do y'all see this front line that I'm seeing? What they lined up? Deshaun Womack, Harold Perkins on a guard. Like y'all seen on Parashan at the nose, Savion Jones on the guard, then Greg Penn on the other tackle. Y'all reading this, right? Innovative, man. Innovative. Very innovative. Jonas says it sounds like Nuss struggled a little bit today. I don't want to say that he struggled. I wouldn't go there. I mean, 7-on-7 was really good. 7-on-7 was really good. And I have a difference of opinion when it comes to how practices work. If you do a scrimmage like actual down and distance and you're winning or holding the team to a field goal, like I'm more than 7-on-7, more than that little individual bullshit that you run at the beginning of practice. It's literally gonna take all precedent. Anybody that doesn't believe that 11-on-11 doesn't take more precedent is an idiot. Full-blown idiot. So yeah. Chris Melder says, did Emory get dinged up? He did. He did. Looked like he pulled a hamstring. Look, man, I don't. Just hope it's not bad, man. Hope it's not bad. We'll see tomorrow if he's there, and if he is and he's running around, then you'll feel better. If he's not, then we'll see. Jeremy says, will Sage Ryan stay at cornerback? I think he will. Or move back to safety from what it looks like at fall camp. I don't see a scenario where he moves back at safety in the beginning of the season. And I'll tell you, man, we talk about individual drills, like, oh, Sage Ryan got beat on a slant route right by Chris Hilton. Okay. I mean, I get it. Like I get it. Guys, it's one-on-one. What happens in 11-on-11 when full bullets are flying? I don't think Sage Ryan's had a bad fall camp. Corey, Emory, John Emory. All right, a couple more. Then I'm getting out of here. Mega Bucks says Baker has more talent than he had his first or second year at Missouri. Mega, I don't know about that. I mean, Mizzou had dudes that got drafted off that defense, man. What's 4 or 5 dudes that got drafted off their defense? We had 3 along the defensive line, but that was it. I mean, we'll see. Justin says, after seeing first week of camp, what is your record prediction? I'm not doing that. Who do you see the losses to? I'm not doing that. Sorry, Jordan. I'm just not doing that. I gave you my record prediction. I think you'll be 10-2, and then things change along fall camp, injuries, whatever. I think your ceiling is around 10-2, and I think your floor is around 8-4. That's what I think. Stephen Fry, good friends over at Fry Construction, says, Blake, any updates on Trey Holly? How we looking? Only thing I know about Trey Holly is that he has a court date on September 18th. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't see a world where he plays the first 3 weeks at minimum. Maybe 4 weeks. There's no way. Just no way, man. I can't see it. I don't see an avenue. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. So, I mean, it sucks for him. It sucks for him. Rob says, who doesn't get beat by Chris over the top? I'm assuming it means like over the top. I don't know. I've never seen anybody not win that as a DB. A foot race with Chris Hilton, nobody's ever won that. If Chris is just getting off the line of scrimmage and running downfield, nobody's going to beat him. Sage had good coverage on him, though. And 11 on 11. Show the shit did. You asked me that last week. I told you that last week. Let's see a couple more if we can before we get out of here. Man, number 21 looks like a starter. Hold on. What am I missing? Shit. Hold on. Let me get to 21 here. Because I want to see who you're talking about. Why am I forgetting 21? Oh, Michael Turner. No. Michael's had some really good done some really good things in coverage. I don't agree with that. Josh. I don't agree with that. If he's a starter, we're in trouble. Brandon Reese says Hilton and Lacey can have a breakout season. Let's hope so. All right. We're out of here. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Y'all have a good one. None of the practice report. We'll see y'all soon. Peace.